Hey, babes, I am so excited you're here, and I want you to just grab a cup of positivity and sit back and enjoy the show. You see what I did there? Positivity. So funny. Actually, I saw someone's name on Instagram that was that, and I always stuck with me. Like, how clever is that? Okay, so I want to talk today about how to have more of a positive mindset around things. And you guys, this is going to take a little while for us to unpack kind of what's going on in your headspace, your world. Again, this is however old you are. For me, I'm 38. This is 38 years of unpacking things of my life, of wiring, of how I got to be the way I am today. And so I want you to go into this with an open mind and to not be too hard on yourself. I want you to also know that this might trigger some things for you. Maybe, thinking into your past, some situations or things that happened that might just kind of spur something up in you. And it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to sit with them. It's okay to be upset or cry or sad or happy. It's okay. And it's also okay to be happy. That's another thing too. I think a lot of times, especially if we live with people or we're a very close circle of people who are maybe really unhappy or really depressed and, all of those things, it's okay to be okay, because sometimes I think we try to be too relatable to people. And I think that can pigeonhole some of us who might want to branch out a little bit. I also want to say that I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. While I am obtaining a psychology degree, I am in no way skilled in ways to diagnose anything. Again, you should talk with your doctor. There are many things, and mental health issues are absolutely real, and I do not want to take those lightly. So I am just here to help the average person try to create a happier mindset and a better mindset around things. Fortunately, I feel like for me, one of the reasons why I feel like I can speak to this is because I had positive influences in my life, my whole entire life. My mom is absolutely the most positive person I have ever been around. And so for her to have been raising me, again, she was a stay-at-home mom. She did her seamstress stuff on the side. That really instilled and ingrained in me that positive mindset. And so I also recognize that that's not everybody's upbringing and that's not everybody's situation. And I also don't want to take that lightly. And I want to share that I never took that for granted. I absolutely reflect on that and how her personality was and her mindset was, and that how much that helped and benefited me and helped create to the person I am today. So all that aside, grab that cup of positivity and let's focus a little bit on how we can get you into thinking a little bit differently. This is probably going to be a couple step podcast because I don't want this to be too long. I know you all are busy. And so I want to make sure that this is nice bite-sized things that you can do and have some takeaways that you can help implement into your life and really just bring into your life and try to think differently. With any of my podcasts or anything that I will share with you, I will always tell you this, and I will never, ever, ever say anything differently. But the biggest thing that you can do for yourself and for your mental health and your physical health and all of those things, if you want to be a better person, you have to start being more self-aware. And that is taking the time to figure out who you are and where you come from and why. Why do you do things the way you do? And so think about also the people that you're hanging around. If you've probably seen those memes out there that says you are like the 5 people you hang around, and it is absolutely true. So sometimes that means taking a step back, and I'm not saying do not go to the winery this weekend or whatever that might be for you, or go shopping. What I'm saying is take a bird's eye view of this, take an objective view, take a step back and look at those people. What are the conversations you have? What are the goals that you guys talk about? Are you constantly talking about how you're single and you're miserable? Or, excuse me, maybe one of your girlfriends hates her spouse or her partner. Maybe there's just a lot of negativity in your conversations. Maybe you're constantly gossiping about people. Again, I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm saying for me, I had to take a step back and pull myself away from those types of relationships. And if that's something that you need to do, there are plenty of places and supports and things for you to be able to do that. However, what I found for myself is when I tried to be a positive person and pull away and try to find that growth and focus on growth. And then when I stepped back into those circles and those situations, whether they were lifelong friendships or not, I found that I really just couldn't be there anymore. I couldn't be in that space. I was a different person. It had nothing to do with those people. It had everything to do with me and where I needed to go and what I needed to do. So it's kind of like in the relationships when you always hear the breakup joke of like, it's not you, it's me. That is exactly what this is. I am in no way saying that there is anything wrong with you or how you want to live your life or what you want to do or what you don't want to do. But what I need to do for myself is X, Y, and Z. And so I really want you to be okay with that and know that it's going to be hard, but know that it's going to be absolutely worth it. So again, I encourage you to take an objective view and looking at the friendships of the people you have around you. Are these people motivating you? Are they encouraging you? Are they supporting your good choices? Are they also indulging it with you or having fun and also fueling your fire sometimes when you're upset? That is perfectly okay. But if you have friends who you're constantly in conversations with and they're bringing you down, that is going to impact you. That is going to stress you out. And that is just not going to get you where you need to be. So I also want to take a step back and think about how we're all wired. I shared with you how my upbringing was a very positive one, and my mom was a very positive influence in my life and those around me. She was a soccer coach. She was just very bubbly, loud kind of person, just really positive person to be around, always had nice things to say about people. And so that helped me be wired probably a little differently than some other people, because I always had that positive mindset and that framework. And I'm telling you that because this is also something that you can grow and develop. This does not have to be something that was ingrained in you when you were 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. While that will be helpful, and while that also could be detrimental to where your progress in terms of having a positive mindset, I'm just saying that this is a learned behavior. So just know we're all wired differently, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong way to it. But if you're listening to this right now and you're here in this space, my guess is that you want to have a more positive outlook on things. You want to be a more positive person. You want to be happy. That is a hard thing to obtain sometimes. It really is, especially when you have your mindset, which is the most powerful thing working against you every single day. It is so challenging. So just know that you're not alone, but just know that you can also get better and you can also do things differently. So let's unpack your history a little bit. And this is where I just want to say this might be a little harder for some of you. Again, just own your feelings. Just know that they are okay. And however you feel is not right or wrong. And I want you to really think back to a time when you were younger and that something had a significant impact on you. Again, most of the times, the things we remember are negative things. And that is there's the scientific research done on that where it is definitely more likely for you to be impacted and remember those negative things. It's just a way that our brains work, and it's okay. But I want you to think back to one of those negative situations and think about what happened. What happened in that situation? How did you feel in that situation? And then how did you react? And maybe you didn't react at all, and that's okay too. But just think about that and think about that situation. I'll use my boss, one of my old bosses, former bosses, as an example. So I had a boss that came in, and of course, when there's new people coming into the organization, you always have, there's some just differences trying to get to know people. I always start with trying to have a completely clean slate, not letting anyone else's impressions of people or opinions of people just dictate how I feel about someone. So I don't want to hear what other people have to say about someone. I want to create that own just kind of thing for myself. I'm not coming up with the right word. I want to be the one to create my own impressions on people. I don't want to be influenced by other people in that situation. So I had a boss come in. It was very different than we normally had. He came in like gung-ho, balls to the wall. Let's get crap done. This is how it's going to be. And he didn't do some of the normal things like building relationships and trying to understand where people were coming from. And this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Again, I kept that positive focus on this. And so, it actually he wouldn't think he was there for a full year, and he left the company because he just was not a good fit. He recognized he wasn't a good fit. Other leaders in our organization recognized that he wasn't a good fit. And so I reflected on this situation, and I told his supervisor this after he left, of kind of just asking some questions about the situation. I just said, for me, I think we should have recognized earlier that this wasn't a good fit instead of letting it go almost a whole year. That's just a completely different kind of situation here. But I focused on the positive that came out of this. And I think that is a huge piece that goes missed in a lot of negative situations, is there is almost always a positive that comes out of it. So for me, what I noticed that was positive was I learned how I didn't want to be as a boss. I did supervise people at the time, but I had a very small team and I wanted to grow that team and I wanted to hit different levels in my career. And so when I was reflecting on that situation, I said, well, I don't want to go into any type of leadership role without getting to know who I'm supervising and getting to understand what motivates them and what motivates them to do the work or not do the work. Like I really focused on that. And so the positive that came out of that was that I learned how not to be, and that's okay too. Like take some of those situations, or maybe you know someone in your life where you're like, yeah, they're a total asshole. I don't want to be like that. This is how they run things. And I don't want to run it like that. That's not how I would do it. So just thinking about that, there's always a positive that comes out of it. So I would love to hear your story. If you want to share that with me, you can share it on Instagram. I'm Jess_Wilkin. I would really like to hear kind of some of those situations you had. But I really do want you to think about how you could switch that to a positive. So even thinking back to maybe something that happened when you were a kid, or maybe an interaction you had on the playground, or something that happened that made you feel terrible, like what is a positive that came out of it? I don't know, as I'm talking, one thing that came up is, we all have, not all of us, but a lot of us have siblings. They've said things to you that like rubs you the wrong way, or you're like, whatever, you're a jerk and hit them. I don't know. I don't know if you all have that relationship with your siblings like I did, but my brother was quite influential to me, probably more than he realizes it. And there was one time, I was probably about 15, 16. I was a very homely child, not cute at all. Like homely is the only thing I can explain myself as. And I'm not fishing for compliments here at all, but I'm trying to prove a point. So he told me at one point, you'd be kind of pretty if you got your teeth fixed and you got that mole removed. Like I had a huge mole on my face. And that has like stuck with me forever. And so what did I do? I paid for my own braces and I had the mole removed. Like that, a positive that came out of that is I have more confidence now. And like, I could take that as what a shitty thing to say to someone. That's so mean. But you know what? It fueled me. I flipped it around to fuel me. And now I have more confidence today. Like, even if I still have the mole on my face, I'd be like, you know what? That's a beauty mark. I'm on a rocket. So just try to think of it in that way. So again, I want to circle back a little bit to the awareness piece of this. This is the biggest thing that's going to help you, okay? Be aware of the mindset that you have right now. Be aware of how you're responding to situations or how you're thinking in your own head while you're driving. What are you saying to yourself? What are these things? And just be mindful of how you might be perceived by other people. Again, I take pride in being a positive person. Yes, I get sucked into the gossiping and saying things that I'm like, why did I say that out loud? I need a filter, like all those things. But I find that when I'm around really, really negative people who really do need probably some help. I mean, let's just be honest here. I find that I'm completely exhausted because I'm constantly trying to lift them up. My mom used to tell me this too, that she had a family friend who she had to really be cognizant of the time that she spent with that person because it was so emotionally draining and physically draining for her to be around her. Like, so she would only go and hang out for maybe an hour or two because that person would like literally suck the life out of her. So she's constantly trying to build this person up and they're like, yeah, but this, or yeah, but this, or yeah, but these kids, or so maybe you're that person, and don't take this the wrong way. I'm just saying, be aware of that and how you can help shift that. Again, you are the only person in control of your future and in control of how you react to things. So maybe think about it and how you can change that a little bit. Another thing about my mom, again, she was very impactful in my positive personality. And so one of the things she used to do, and I'm just saying this as an aside because I was thinking of this as I was preparing for this podcast a little bit. So one quick actionable step you can do is, like, say, for example, you're driving and someone like is not stopping and you're like you have that moment of, oh my gosh, like kind of a panicky moment. We've all had those moments, especially if you're a woman. I've known so many women in my lives who have done that, not as much as the men. And I'm not trying to be, sexist or anything. I'm just trying to state what I know personally in my own experiences. So I just want you to be mindful of when you're sucking in, what are you sucking in that moment? you're sucking in a lot of negative energy of like this panicked moment, this situation. And then what do? We just go on about our day. I encourage you to be this is a really good actionable thing to be mindful, because it's a physical reaction to a negative, potentially negative situation. So it's a really good first step. So when you have that moment of, I want you to blow it out like you're blowing out birthday candles. Get that shit out of your body. Blow that negative stuff out. I'm not even joking you. I do this all the time. I try to do it like subtly. So if my husband sees me, he's not like, what are you doing? Like, I'll be like, in the car, so he can't see me, but I literally blow it out. I can't tell you how helpful. It's just that is a total mindset thing. I have no idea if there was any scientific research around the fact that if you blow out that negativity, you're going to be a more positive person. I'm just telling you, for me, that has always helped. And it's something that my mom never did. And I actually was like, Mom, you really need to like get that stuff out. You're sucking in all this negative energy, blow it out. Okay. That was totally an aside. So another thing, and you probably have like heard of this before. The thing is, and I used to say this all the time, everything happens for a reason. That was like my favorite quote, everything happens for a reason. And then I heard about, unfortunately, like children dying of cancer and these horrible things that parents have to go through, grandparents have to go through, that people who love people have to go through. And I couldn't make sense of that. In my brain, I couldn't understand how there was a reason for that. And so I actually came across this podcast the other day of a family who did lose their child. They lost a 3-month-old baby. And again, I want to just insert trigger warning here. I know this is absolutely horrible, and I am in no way downplaying anything that happens to anyone. That is like literally heart-wrenching. But what this family said about their unfortunate situation with their baby, they said how they wanted to live their best life for their baby, Gavin. Like, yes, it was awful, unfortunate. They mourned, they grieved, they cried, they just thought it was going to break their relationship. And what they told each other, instead of letting it tear them apart, they came together and they just said, we are going to live out every day for our baby Gavin. Like, we are going to be the best that we can be together. We know we're going to have moments of sadness, of sorrow, but we are going to try to be the best that we can be in honor of our baby who's no longer here. And I thought, wow, what a thing to think about. Like, how awful to go through a situation like that. But if you can take something like that and turn it into how can I be a better person because of this situation, this horrifying situation, that is the epitome of positivity. And I was so amazed by that. It brought me to tears. It was absolutely just heart-wrenching, and what a place of love that had to come from. And how hard, because we want to be angry and we want to blame someone for things like that. And so instead of saying everything happens for a reason, I've shifted that. And again, you've probably heard this too. Everything happens for you, not to you. So those situations don't happen to you. So maybe someone cut you off this morning on your way to work or your way to the grocery store, and it really pissed you off. And you're like, why, you shithead, you suck, you cannot drive, you're an idiot, I hope you go die in a hole. I don't know what you say. That's a horrible thing to say. What I'm saying is, though, reframe your mindset around that. And this is what I tell myself, because I get road rage bad, and I've talked to my therapist about this. I say to myself, maybe that person is on their way to the hospital because someone they love is there. Or maybe that person has to take a major shit. Okay, it happens. Everybody poops. It happens. And so I'm just saying, reframe things, because it has absolutely nothing to do with you most of the time. Again, there's some really weird road rage things, but most of the time it has absolutely nothing to do about you. It's everything to do with them and the situation they're in. And we have no idea what that could be. So I make up a story in my head. This is, they have to poop, or they might be going somewhere because something horrible just happened in their life. Or I also think about it like this, of maybe this situation derailed me and put me about, let's be honest here, 40 seconds to a minute behind what I was actually doing. Maybe that just saved me from an accident. Maybe that just saved me from running into someone, a mom with her kids in the car in their minivan. I don't know, but for me, that takes me out of the headspace of, you dumb asshole, why are you even driving? You shouldn't have a driver's license, and puts me into a space of positivity. So I really want you to try to do that. Okay, I want to wrap it up here and kind of recap a little bit and talk about some actionable steps for you to take today and this week, over the next few weeks, and I want to hear how it goes for you. So over the next week, I want you to be very aware of your thoughts. These are things that you think about while you're driving or while you're mowing the grass or doing laundry or whatever it is, or the moments you have in traffic when you're very annoyed with people. Are you having negative thoughts? Again, you are not a bad person for those negative thoughts. But if you want to get to a different phase or a different level in your life, it's a really good place to start. I will also say, this is kind of another aside, one thing that I did for myself was I love self-deprecating humor, okay? I think it's hilarious. It's like passive aggressively making fun of yourself. So I'll give you a perfect example. So in the movie Bridesmaids, which I know you've all seen, there's a part where she's trying to get in first class and she's like, I think she took some downers. I don't don't remember exactly what she took, but she's like, help me, I'm poor. Like, because she is actually in a place where she is not financially comfortable and she couldn't afford to be in first class. And so she's jokingly saying, help me, I'm poor. And so I would say that all the time, like jokingly in situations where I had to maybe shell out $500 for my dog's appointment, or it's like, oh my God, help me, I'm poor. Like jokingly, I would say that on social media. I would say to my friends, like as a haha funny. That is not getting us anywhere. Unfortunately, yes, it might be funny, but what you're doing is you're playing that negative mindset on a loop in your head and trying to make it funny when it's really not. So that's one thing that I've been trying to do as well. And I highly encourage you to pay a little bit more attention to that. Not that you don't have to do anything with it, but again, this is all about awareness and how can we change and make changes to be the best version of ourselves. All right, so the other thing I do, and I will highly encourage you to do this one, and this is actually a little harder than it sounds because you have to be disciplined enough to do it. Start tracking 3 positives each day. So that can be you putting them in your phone, that can be writing in your planner, maybe a notepad next to your bed, maybe it's you texting a friend for some accountability of 3 positive things that happen every single day. These can be interactions you've had, maybe someone gave you a compliment, made you feel amazing. Maybe you accomplished something that day that you've been putting off for a long time. Like, what are those wins that you've had for the day? And I want you to keep track of those because that gives you those moments and that's going to help build your confidence. All right, next thing is I want every situation you come up against, whether you have a negative reaction or a response that you wish you would have reacted better to, I want you to stop and reflect on it. So while you have that quiet time, I highly encourage you to turn the radio off, or if you're still listening to the radio, maybe find some podcasts. Hello, I'm here. But maybe find some podcasts to listen to. Fill your brain with better things. But sometimes it's also a great time to reflect on situations that happen. So maybe when you're driving or you've got 20, 30 minutes to drive somewhere, you can really put yourself in that space of, how did I react to that situation? How could I have reacted better? What could I have done differently? And really reflect on that. Like, did I respond in a way that is constructive and that is pushing me into this more positive mindset? Because a lot of times I found that I could have responded differently, or I could have had better timing with my response, or, just different things like that. And that's going to really help that awareness piece so that you can help yourself be a little bit more positive in future interactions. The other thing I would say is share this with someone you care and love. Like, this is a huge thing. And this is a really challenging thing. Being positive, having a positive mindset. Again, if there's 4 other people around you or 5 other people around you that you really love, but you guys are really like talking shit about people, or there's a lot of negativity, maybe they need to hear this today. And maybe this is a simple way of like, hey, I'm just going to passive aggressively share this podcast with you. No, I'm not joking. I'm being serious. Some people need some tough love. And if you love them enough, you will tell them, this is what I need out of this relationship. And be open with them and honest. Like, I don't want to talk bad about my husband anymore. Or yeah, it's annoying that he leaves his clothes on the floor when the hamper is right there. But I love him because he does like this, and this. He's an amazing person. So I don't want to talk shit about him anymore because it makes me feel bad. And it makes me focus more on his bad qualities. Again, whatever that looks like for you, be open and honest. If you truly care about people, you will tell them how you feel. So that is what I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. I hope this didn't spur up a lot of like unwanted energy or make you tense. I want you to think about this in the best manner possible that you can be the best version of yourself. Okay. This is something that is a work in progress. It's not going to be a flip of a switch. It's not going to be like, oh, I'm positive now. Like, it's going to take time, and you're going to have those confidence building interactions where you're like flipping the script on things, or you're finding the positive in every situation. And then you're going to just one day you're going to be like, wow, I've actually not been as negative lately, because it's really hard to track positivity and negativity. So I just want to share that with you. If you have any questions at all for me, you guys know I offer one-on-one coaching now. I also have separately, I have private accountability groups for like fitness and wellness and things. Again, I am trying to be the best version of myself today, tomorrow, and 30 years from now. And so I encourage you to do that with me. And I hope you have an amazing day.